Greetings, my friends, and welcome back to Mike Allen from Chicagoland. You know, one of the things that I really enjoy about this YouTube journey is that I'm learning so much about local history, local figures that were part of history, and just little stories that, you know, you never knew that they took place so close to your home until you start researching and looking into these types of topics. And today is no exception, because I'm going to talk to you today about a historical figure that spent some time in Batavia, Illinois for a few months back in 1875. Her name was Mary Todd Lincoln. She was the wife of Abraham Lincoln, and she spent 4 months right here, Bellevue Place. Now, Bellevue Place was built in 1854. It was originally a private academy. And 13 years after it was built, it was turned into a sanitarium. And in 1875, Mary Todd Lincoln was declared legally insane by a Chicago jury and was sent here to stay. So today, here in 2021, the buildings are all apartments now, and they do not allow tours. But I thought this place had some pretty historical significance to it and thought it was worth profiling. In 1970s, don't remember the particular year, but it was put on the National Registry of Historic Places. And we're going to come take a look at this placard up here. And here's the plaque commemorating Mary Todd Lincoln's stay at Bellevue Place. Batavia Historical Society, October 12th, 1986. Now, this is private property, so I don't want to be trespassing, but I do want to get a few shots of the building just to give you an idea. This is coming around the back entrance here. These are all apartment complexes that I'm not sure if it was part of the original building or not. Here's what it looks like from the back. I believe this is a building made of limestone. Now, Mary Todd Lincoln lived a very tragic life. She lost 3 of her children in childhood. One at age 3, one at age 11, and another at age 18. And in between the second and third deaths, she witnessed the assassination of her husband right in front of her. So I can kind of understand why she would be struggling from a mental health standpoint. And her only son that survived into adulthood, Robert Todd Lincoln, committed her here in 1875. Now, at the time, she needed to go in front of a jury to be declared legally insane in order to be committed to a place like this, and that's exactly what her son did. Now, he was probably doing what he thought was best for her at the time. There wasn't much known about mental health and mental illness back in 1875, and she ended up spending 4 months here. During that time, she used much of her time trying to get out of the place, and she was able to advocate for herself and get out, and she spent the rest of her life living with her sister in Springfield. So yeah, you can't help but feel sorry for the woman. Can't imagine losing 3 kids and seeing your husband be assassinated right in front of you. So while researching this story, I kind of came to the conclusion that Mary Todd Lincoln, really what she needed was some acknowledgement of the pain that she was going through, followed by some compassion. You know, she didn't need to be put up in front of a jury of her peers to determine her sanity and then put in a mental institution for 4 months. Well, she had to fight her way out of it. You know, looking back on her history, she was a woman who lost 3 of her children, watched her husband be assassinated, and I can't imagine what that would do as both a father and a husband. I can't imagine what that would do to my mental psyche if I witnessed something like that and had those types of life experiences happening in my life. I know her son, Robert Todd Lincoln, was just trying to do what he thought was best for her at the time, and I'm just glad that times have changed. The stigma around mental health is changing. A lot more knowledge is known about it. There's much more compassion towards people who suffer through these types of mental health issues, and I'm just glad that we've progressed as a society since this happened. I can't imagine losing a child at 3, another one at 11, and then another one at 18, and then watching your husband get assassinated in between, you know, your second and third child's death. So yeah, that's not something that anybody should have to go through. And I can understand why Mary Todd Lincoln had the, you know, mental breakdown that she did. But she didn't need to be put into asylum. She needed compassion. Anyway, I'm going to get off my soapbox and we'll head on to the next stop. Standing out in front of the Batavia Depot Museum right now, and before we head inside, I just want to give a little information about this place. It was built in 1854. Used to be housed on the other side of town as a train depot for the Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy Railroad. So it moved to its current location in 1973 after the building was abandoned. The town saved it and put it up as a museum here over along the Fox River. So it was put on the National Historic Registry in 1979. And inside this building, there's an exhibit dedicated to Mary Todd Lincoln's stay at the Bellevue Place. There's a dresser and bed and kind of a mock-up of her room and what it would have looked like back during her stay in 1875. So also this museum is dedicated to the railway, Batavia's history with the railway, their history with agriculture and commerce. So we're going to head inside right now and check it out, and hope you enjoyed this time through here. Outside the depot, they also have some other attractions. First Bank of Batavia, as well as this old-fashioned train car. Established 1856, Coffin Bank, Batavia's first bank. Well, one thing's for sure, it's absolutely freezing in here. Got the old-fashioned typewriters, including this one here, called the calligraph, or calligraph. Not sure how I'm pronouncing that correctly. It just says, this machine is a very early style typewriter. Its age is unknown. Be nice if this old-fashioned stove were working, as it is freezing. And the depot also has one of these old trolleys out front here. You can go inside and check it out. And this stove inside this train car here was used to heat up food and coffee, and also to keep the men warm during the winter months. And this is pretty cool. There was a lumber yard that existed here until 1963. Right here on this spot where there's condominiums now. This station originally served the Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy Railroad. There's the Batavia sign that was on the building. And there's the train coming into town. Here's some pictures from where it originally stood. And this is the Mary Todd Lincoln exhibit here inside the Batavia Depot Museum. Her bed, mirror, and chair. Bellevue Place then, as well as a timeline.
Here's a little bit better picture. And a picture of Mary Todd Lincoln herself. Along with some information about her. This is Dr. R.J. Patterson, who treated Mary Todd Lincoln during her stay at Bellevue Place. Copy of Mary Todd Lincoln's insanity verdict, May 19, 1875. Down in the basement now, this exhibit talks about the Illinois Indians who lived in this region for several hundred years. Some of the tools and stone weaponry that were used. And I thought this was interesting. These are the molars of a mastodon. And some information about Batavia being the windmill city. There's some models that they had on display here in the museum. Batavia was also a manufacturer of weaponry during World War II. Here's one of the shells that was manufactured by Batavia Metal Products. Crossing over the Fox River now here in downtown Batavia as the rain starts coming down. I want to make one more stop before we end this video. We're going to head to the original location of where the Batavia Depot Museum was. So let's head over there. So here's a picture that I found online. This was also posted in the museum as well, of the original building and the location that it was in. And this is what it looks like today. And from what the folks at the depot were telling me, this train line is still active, but I gotta tell you, the many times I've been through here, I think I've only seen one train. Just walking around on the old site here, I don't see much evidence, if any, left of remnants of what the building looked like. Looks like it's all been cleared out of here and moved to the other side of town. Well, this concludes our video for today as we take a look back at the life of Mary Todd Lincoln, the wife of Abraham Lincoln, and her stay at Bellevue Place, as well as exploring the Batavia Depot Museum and its original location. You never know what type of historical figures or historical events took place so close to your house, and that's one of the biggest things I've been learning throughout this YouTube journey, and I can't wait to continue on it. Well, anyway, if you just wouldn't mind giving my channel a like and a subscribe, I would really appreciate it. You can take it a step further and visit my Patreon account. I'll put a link in the description below. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.